Did you know Euphoria on HBO was literally pitched as Kids Meets Train Spotting with Zero Parental Supervision? That's not a tagline, that's a warning label, honey. Hey, it's Emma. I'm feeling extra curious today, and yes, we're about to get into the glittery chaos that is Euphoria. So, let's talk. Euphoria is an American teen drama on HBO, created by Sam Levinson, who's a writer and director pulling from his own experiences with addiction. The show dives into identity, trauma, love, friendship, and the messiness between them. Zendaya, who you know from Spider-Man and Dune, plays Rue Bennett, a teenage addict who narrates the story with a mix of brutal honesty and self-delusion that feels, painfully real. The look of the show is its own character, saturated purples and blues that feel like 2 a.m. euphoria, greens and yellows when everything's wrong, and those polished, hyper-stylized sets that turn a high school hallway into a fever dream. It's style, but it's also substance. Emotional realism, just saying. Let me set the scene. I had one of those LA nights that felt like it escaped from Euphoria's writer's room. My friends and I roll up to this underground club in East Hollywood. The kind with a line that looks like a fashion editorial and a bouncer who's like a philosopher in a bomber jacket. Inside, the lights are low, the LEDs are doing the most, and the DJ's mixing old doo-wop with trap. Total vibe. It's chaotic, it's gorgeous, it's a little too loud for secrets, which of course means everyone's telling them. About an hour in, I realize I've lost my friends. My phone's at 3%, classic me. The room starts to tilt, not physically, but emotionally. Like the camera is doing one of those Euphoria whip pans and I'm the storyline getting stitched into 5 others. I feel, honestly, vulnerable. And then, this girl in a mesh top and the most Heidi Bivens core makeup look. Heidi Bivens is the show's costume designer, queen of telling a character's truth through clothes. She taps my shoulder and goes, "You look like you're trying not to panic." She walks me outside for air. We swap names. She asks who I'm trying to find. She rallies a crew. 10 minutes later, like magic, my friends appear, screaming my name, Emma. In that moment, it hits me what Euphoria is really getting at. The spectacle is stunning, sure, but the point is connection. The right stranger at the right time. Kismet moment. Rue's entire arc is basically that. You can't heal alone. Even in the neon, you need a hand to hold. Okay, let's move on. Euphoria Basics, Eli 5. It's set in a fictional California town called East Highland. They actually filmed at Grant High School in Los Angeles and Culver City, which is why those hallways feel both real and cinematic. The vibe is emotional realism. The cinematography leans bright LEDs and sky panels for that purple-blue interior glow. Camera movement is the glue. Lots of tracking shots and whip pans that stitch stories together. There's a Season 1 episode, Shook One's PT, I2, named after the Mobb Deep track, where they pulled off a 2-minute tracking shot with a techno crane and multiple stitches. It feels like you're surfing teenage chaos in real time, and color language is intentional. Greens and yellows telegraph distress. Purples and blues mean heightened round, cool contrast outside is like California dream with a side of dread. Important people roll call. Because names matter. Sam Levinson, the creator and showrunner, is the through line. He writes every episode and directs almost all of them. The pilot and 2 Season 1 episodes were directed by others, like Jennifer Morrison, who's an actor turned director, and Pippa Bianco, a filmmaker known for sharp, intimate work. The Browns signing Levinson pulls from his own addiction history, which I think is why Rue's voiceover swings from poetic to petty to painfully honest without feeling fake. Then there's Zendaya as Rue. She set the bar. Awards on awards. 2 Emmys, a Golden Globe. Not a fluke. Her Rue is messy, manipulative, tender, terrified. It's all there. And it's why the show can go so dark without losing its hot. Behind the scenes, you've got A24 as a co-producer, A24 as the indie studio that prints cultural currency, and Drake as an executive producer, yes, that Drake, which signals how pop-aware the series is. Music supervisors Jen Malone and Adam Lieber. Adam Lieber is the people who pick and clear songs that make you feel things, won a Guild Award for Season 1. The soundtrack ranges from hip-hop to doo-wop, like 20-plus songs per episode sometimes. Seasons 1 and 2 had original score by Labyrinth, the British artist-producer who gave us those ethereal church choir in space vibes. Season 3 levels up differently with Hans Zimmer, the film composer behind like Inception and Dune. Labyrinth later said his music was removed from Season 3, which is big drama, but Zimmer's take keeps the show vast and cinematic. Costumes! Heidi Bivens, as I mentioned, designs with intent. Outfits in Euphoria aren't just cute, they're plot. Jules, played by model-actor Hunter Schafer. Schafer is also a co-writer on one of the specials. Evolves from pastel anime princess to androgynous, darker palettes as she interrogates identity. That is character development you can literally see. And yes,
Maddie Perez, played by Alexa Demi, is the patron saint of the cutout dress. That's a look.
Oh, and speaking of drama, let's talk controversies. In 2022, DARE, the long-running anti-drug education organization, called out the show's depiction of drug use, worried it glamorized addiction. Some critics have said the nudity is too much given the high school framing. The show uses intimacy coordinators and closes sets for nudity, which is standard safety now. HBO, for its part, pushed back on toxic set allegations and pointed to compliance with guild safety guidelines. And censorship bans popped up in places like Malaysia, the Philippines, and Singapore for sexual or violent content. My take, Euphoria is raw because adolescence can be raw. It does not, to me, glamorize addiction. Rue's withdrawal arc, her relapses, the collateral damage to family, Leslie and Gia, her mom and sister, those scenes are devastating. But viewer discretion is a must. HBO even provides mental health resources after episodes. If you're triggered by addiction or sexual violence, pace yourself. Protect your peace. Let's dissect impact for a sec. By the end of season 2, Euphoria was one of HBO's most watched shows since the early 2000s and easily a social media juggernaut, most tweeted series of the decade at that point. Episode titles often reference late 90s and early 2000s tracks, weaving pop history into character arcs. There's also a shared universe with The Idol, which is Sam Levinson's 2023 series. Alexa Demi even pops up for a blink and you miss it cameo, which, honestly, slayed the timeline. And yes, season 3 jumped 5 years. Everyone's an adult now, wrangling faith, redemption, the problem of evil. The premiere even screened at Coachella in 2026, which is the most Euphoria thing ever. High-key flex and a little bit meta. Quick note of respect, Angus Cloud, who played Fezco, passed in 2023. His performance was tender and unforgettable. And Eric Dane, who portrayed Cal Jacobs, died in 2026 after finishing his season 3 work. Big yikes for the fandom. The show is fiction, but the people behind it are real, and the grief was real. Sending love to their families, always. Why does it stick in pop culture? Fashion, makeup, the internet tried to copy that bedazzled liner like it was a rite of passage. Music that lives rent-free in our heads. Also, let's be honest. It gave everyone permission to talk about ugly truths. Addiction, revenge, identity dysphoria, toxic masculinity. The aesthetic is extra, but the conversations are overdue, and I love that for us. If you're new to the series, start at season 1. The specials in 2020 and 2021, Rue's Diner episode and Jules' therapy session, are masterclasses in stillness and writing. They slow the machine down so you can actually hear the heartbeat. That's when I realized, oh, this show isn't just vibes, it's a thesis on how young people survive. Before we go further, we need to address craft one more time. Co-producers include The Reasonable Bunch, A24, Little Lamb, Dream Crew, and HBO Entertainment. That cocktail explains why the series looks like a music video, feels like a confession, and moves like a thriller. Also, the editing has that snap that makes even a hallway feel like a runway. Emotional realism on 10. Okay, pause, because this next part is everything. The biggest unanswered question, does Euphoria help or harm? My stance, it helps when we view it as a mirror, not a manual. Parents, watch it with context. Teens, watch it with boundaries. The show isn't a how-to, it's a what happens if. And when it checks itself, like acknowledging when Rue weaponizes her pain, it earns the right to go dark. But glamour without consequence is a no-go. Euphoria mostly threads that needle, imperfectly, bravely, and sometimes controversially as hell. Next time, we're diving into coming-of-age films and how they shape entire generations, from fashion to feelings to the friends you outgrow. Bring snacks. So, that's the tea, folks. Life is a total vibe, but please keep your heart safe and your eyeliner waterproof. I'll see you next time. Later.